Welcome back to Animal Crossing New Horizons. I'm Dear Darling, and shall we see what's going on our lovely island of Fawnhollow today? Well, we'll be vibing out as per usual. I feel like I've started using that as sort of like an opener for most of these videos now, because I'm just like, oh, you know, I've already got my opener, now I need to lead into a conversation. But anyway, let's talk about, I don't know, what should we talk about? I was going to talk about sushi, but now I was just like, no, I can't talk about another food topic. I talk about food way too much on this channel, despite the fact I don't even know much about food, you know? It's quite ironic considering the whole thing I said yesterday about, you know, I don't really talk about Marvel that much because I don't really know much about Marvel, but then I talk about food despite not knowing much about food. What can we talk about? We talk about photo albums actually. Let's do that. Good evening everyone. We're now in Fawnhallow at 7:53 PM on Tuesday, November 15, 2022. So we're visiting our campsite. It's been a while since that happened actually, now I think about it. But yeah, photo albums. So basically, if you don't know, a small group of friends where we basically make these random gifts to each other. Like on this year they made me plushies, a previous year we made like an escape room experience of one of them, etc, 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 just like these shooting stars, these fun like sort of one-off sort of things. And this year for one of the birthdays we made a scrapbook slash photo album sort of thing. It's kind of a photo album, but it's basically the gimmick of it is the interesting thing about it is the fact that it's made out of NFC cards. No, Rowan, you cannot leave. Stay here and clean. Yeah, they're using NFC cards. If you don't know what NFC cards are, then NFC is near field communication, I think. I'm not actually sure if that's what it stands for, but I assume it's basically, you know, like amiibos. You know, you scan the amiibo, it's got data on it, and it like transfers that data to whatever you use to scan it. You do that a lot with phones. With I'm trying to think like touch cards, like contactless. That's what it's called. It's not called touch cards or like Google Pay, etc. That sort of. You can do it between phones for like communications, etc, etc, etc. Yeah, but we basically made a photo album out of that. How was it? It was a cute photo album is probably what I'd say. It's a photo album sort of crossed with scrapbook because, you know, instead of having all the photos laid out there, it's more like we have the cards in there leading to different albums that we've accrued over the years of, you know, hanging out with each other and that sort of thing. And it's pretty cute, I'm not gonna lie, but then, you know, there was a slight problem with the NFC cards, the fact that because there's so many in too close a proximity to each other, I think they started like reading and writing to each other, so some of them didn't link to the correct thing, which is a bit weird. They were all working correctly before we put them in, and then we put them in, and then like when we gave it to them, it no longer worked, which might just be a thing with NFC cards, which I legitimately didn't know. Not that expensive NFC cards, but photo albums in general are quite a nice thing, you know, like my parents of course have photo albums on me when I was a child, and well, for many things, because you know photo albums of course were much more physical back in the day, but before, you know, like Google Photos or what's the app one called, iCloud? I'm not really sure what the app one's called. Maybe it's called iCloud. How are you still Cornimer? I guess you stopped being Cornimer first day of December, maybe? I'm not really sure. But yeah, I forgot what I was going to say. Yeah, photo albums. And obviously right now the photo albums are very much tucked away. Who's normally there? Sahara. Okay, so Sahara's visiting our island. I just couldn't remember. So yeah, like my parents have taken a lot of photos and that sort of thing. Like my father actually had a video camera quite early on, like before like when video cameras were still kind of expensive, to be honest. And you know, thank God he did, because it was, you know, awesome to see like all the memories that he's taken, you know, like me as a child, etc, etc. Our family like 25 years ago and that sort of thing. All these memories are now like a lot easier to keepsake, and me especially, you know, I certainly love looking back at photo albums, that sort of thing. Like when I go out with my friends, I'm definitely the one who takes a load of random photos, you know. I try my best to basically take candid photos, a good mix of candid photos and sort of stage photos being like, oh, here's something cool, pose in front of it, you know. I'd stop, luckily like most of my friends kind of like, you know, their pictures being taken, at least in a small group, definitely, that we made this photo album from, is they all like cameras, you know, being in photos and that sort of thing in video. So, you know, sometimes I'll just like whip out my phone randomly, you know, with a camera and be like, whoa, and just like point it at their face, and they just like immediately react, be like, whoa, and you know, they kind of got used to it, they kind of get the drill. So we have a huge amount of photo albums that we've made from these sort of situations in the first place, and they're pretty awesome. Is what I'm going to say. It's awesome that nowadays that photo albums can be digital, and that we've got the cloud storage, which you can use to upload all the photo albums. And I must say, Google Photos is getting scarily good at identifying things. Obviously, you might have privacy concerns, I suppose, with Google Photos, looking at the faces and whatever you have, and being able to identify it, by putting a face to it or whatever, and you sort of narrow your eyes at the data security of that, especially with Facebook and Meta, and the fact that they leak a load of data or whatever before, will Alphabet do the same thing? Maybe, but at least they haven't yet. And it's the sort of thing where probably at this point in life, since data and stuff is everywhere, people can social media being rampant, especially unless you have lived entirely off the grid for the past 15 years, you probably there was probably a name attaching your face somewhere in a public place for people to find, which is sort of is that good? Is that bad? I don't really know. Is that dystopian? Is that not? I don't know. That's just what I'm used to, I suppose. But I would say Google Photos has gone really good at identifying things. There's a feature in Google Photos where they'll try and group people who they think is the same person together. So if they Google looks at one photo and sees a face, and looks at another photo and sees, hey, there's the same face, Google will put it together in an album and be yo, this is person XYZ. Now, when this feature first came out, I remember it was not very good. It kept it was good sometimes, and it was basically good when I had friends who did not look like anyone else, but when I had friends who even some a passing similarity, and why I'm passing, I mean a very vague passing similarity, started grouping them together. even friends who didn't even look all that similar. But now I guess because AI technology has the data sets of these sort of things and machine learning models have increased 10 million fold, it's gotten pretty good at it now, I would say. It very rarely makes mistakes. Sometimes it'll be hey, can you confirm, is this the same person, is this not the same person? And I'll be yep, every single one of these is the same person. Although it has had some very strange consequences, where it has made photos for strangers who appear in my albums, which is I don't really want that, but I guess I guess we're another 20 years off and Google being able to identify who our friends particularly are. But hey ho. Yeah. I was going to say, anyway, it's nice to, I do find myself, sometimes reminiscing, going back, looking through photo albums, reminiscing all those sort of times. And, I got kind of used to sort of flavour of, photos I like to take for photo albums, obviously focusing on the people, then some interspersed shots of, the scenery or what we're looking at, that sort of thing, so I just sort of get, a good context of where we were, what we were doing, but mostly other people, and videos as well, just, videos being, it's certainly something I've taken after my parents who do this quite a lot, on holidays, which I never really understood when I was younger. They'd be start recording and be today is, well, they're doing it in Chinese, but and you're not going to understand if I do it in Chinese. Right, today is the 15th of November 2022, here we are in London, UK or something, getting, blah blah blah. Well, I guess we'd be on a holiday location, so here we are in New York, USA, and we're gonna go to the Statue of Liberty, and then be say hi children, and we'd be hi, that sort of thing. And, didn't get it back then, now totally get it, And doubly so for, if I was actually a parent, I get it, even more. Be yes, I want to see my kids grow up. I want to have those memories of, those times and reminisce back on them. Because, those times are not forever. Every moment you live is fleeting. It's ethereal. And it's not going to be around forever. So you might as well cherish them while they're still here. And it's always, and while those moments may be gone, those memories you have can still be held. And it's especially easier to do so if you take photos. And I know some people don't like photos, which is fair enough. If you don't want to be in photos, you don't have to be in photos. Of course, you can cover your face, you can turn away or whatever, that sort of thing. But it's the sort of thing where I'm even if you don't like being in photos, I would at least try to get yourself in some photos, if say and you're on a holiday with your family or your friends or whatever, and they take 1,000 photos, I would at least try and get in 10 of them, group photos or something, because it's a sort of thing where you may not regret it, to be fair. You may grow old and be like, I'm so thankful I'm never in any of these photos. You know, I don't care about that sort of like time in my life. But I'd imagine a lot of people do care about those moments in their life and, you know, kind of wish they were there. Like as a, not like as a proof of evidence that they were there, but being able to sort of like see themselves participating in those actions in the first place is nice. And I think it's quite a common thing, especially for teenagers, to not want to be in like photos and that sort of thing. So I remember, especially when I was like I'm gonna say like 10 to 13 or so, I did not like being in photos, and that sort of thing. Mainly because I didn't like what I looked like all that much back then. But now I'm, you know, I'm pretty cool with what I look like because I look amazing. No, I don't. I look distinctly average, if you're wondering, I would say. But yeah, you know, nowadays I like being in photos, and it's nice to be able to look back on photos and be like, yes, I was here, I was part of this experience, rather than, you know, being like, oh, you know, I don't have any memories of these times because there's no photos, because I didn't want to be a part of it. And it's just sort of just like, you know, it's easy, and of course many things are easy to see in retrospect, being like, oh, I should have done it like this, I should have done that, I should have participated in this XYZ, you know, the amount of things, like, no matter how old you are right now, you probably look back at your past self with some sort of degree of being like, you know, I wish I did this differently, or, you know, I didn't like that differently. That's just part of life. If you didn't look back at things with like a sense of being like, I wish I did this differently, then that means you know, if you've never done that, it means you've probably never grown as a person. So either you were born literally perfect, not likely, or you've grown as a person. You know, you've now understood how you've changed, and, you know, how to be a better version of yourself, right? So that's what I mean when, like, you know, even if you hate photos of yourself, hate photos, at least try and be in the group shots, you know. You don't have to do anything amazing or like pose or photos and that sort of thing, but it's not, you know, and allow me to be selfish for a moment, not just for you, but like for other people too, you know. You have people who like love you and care for you and that sort of thing, and they want to have photos of you especially, because they want to be able to reminisce on those times spent with you and that sort of thing. And, you know, without any photos there, there's, I don't know, but, you know, maybe most people just find it like super easy to reminisce like without a photo, but something about having a photo of that person at that time makes it just like easier to sort of reflect back on those memories, right? I don't think it's just me who thinks that. And if it's just me, then, you know, fair enough. But it's also a thing I would encourage as well. Perhaps if you don't like being in photos, why don't you even want to take the photos, you know? Just whip out your camera, you know, and just like point out at your friends and, you know, take photos. Depending on your friend group, and if none of you like being in photos, if none of you take photos, then, you know, it'd be really nice if one person just sort of like stepped up and was like, hey, I'm going to be the one to take the photos because I want to cherish these memories, especially when we're older, that sort of thing. And presumably, I would say about 90% of you, older you, will be like, thank you. Thank past me for doing this, because now I have all these fantastic memories to look back on whenever I want to reminisce on good times, or, you know, like remember a friend. And it might sound a bit macabre, but eventually people pass on, you know. Especially with like older relatives, you'd want pictures and photos together of them so you can reminisce on those sort of times. It's a lot easier, I imagine, to go through the grieving process knowing that you have these memories which you can hold and cherish so dearly, rather than things which just feel like they've been lost. A bit of a sad note, but, you know, a bit of a hopeful one as well, you know. The passage of time is just like quite a fundamental part of life, you know, and it's not something you can stop, it's not something you can halt, but it's something that you can, you know, adapt with, I suppose, is really what I'm saying. So is that my motivation for, you know, always taking photos? Maybe like subconsciously, but at the end of the day, you know, I know who I am. I'm very much someone who likes like sort of like being not nostalgia fueled, but like reminiscing on, you know, past times and that sort of thing, and remembering good memories. So, you know, taking photos is a really good way to remember those memories. So that's why I do. That's why I do indeed. But yeah, photos, videos, you know, like they're just nice, and, you know, purchase the additional storage will be the Google Drive stuff or iCloud or whatever, should you need it, because, you know, it's kind of worth it, I would say. Maybe not necessarily for everybody, but I would at least recommend, if you're not someone who often takes photos, you know, maybe you see it as like eye roll or something, you're like, I'm not like an Instagram influencer, why would I take photos? You don't need to take photos which are Instagram worthy. You don't need to pose out for a shot. You don't need to take photos of your food. You don't need to find a perfect angle, lighting and shot perspective and people and like location. Just candid photos, you know, that's all you need. Candid photos of people and things you love. Even if it's small things, like you might be like, oh, you know, I don't care about like Instagram, wherever photos or selfies, etc. But you know, do your pets you care for? Maybe you want to take pictures of pets, like with you and your pets, see of you and your loved ones and your pets, your friends, plants that you like to look after, like places you've been which you really like. Just those sort of memories, you know. Yeah, so, you know, memories. It's kind of nice. You know, candid memories, I would say. I mean, it was nothing. Instagram influencers. Okay, hold on. Let me think about this. Like, I was going to say Instagram influencers get a bad rep, which is, you know, kind of true. And, you know, I'm not going to go into details about it. That's not what I meant. I didn't mean Instagram influencers. I mean people who take, like, personal, you know, nice looking photos for Instagram, for the gram, that sort of thing, you know. I feel like people like to go to extremes and being like, oh, the only two options are you can enjoy the moment, you can enjoy the moment, or you can take a picture and completely spoil the moment about something, which, you know, I kind of reject that notion in the first place. You know, people like to mock the people who go to like a fancy restaurant or whatever and they don't even eat the food, they just like take a picture of food and then just like upload it to Instagram and like it goes cold. Okay, yeah, that's like kind of like strange. I would certainly say, you know, it's I'd say there's certainly a commentary about like the attention, the reliance on external attention and validation, I suppose. But that's not what I'm talking about, because I feel like most people function not in that way. Most people function and they want to go to a nice restaurant because they want to go to a nice restaurant, and they take a photo of it to remind themselves of it, and also to share with other people, being like, hey, look at this cool restaurant I've gone to. Because, you know, humans are social creatures. You follow your friends' Instagrams, you see they go to a nice place. Hey, where's that cool nice place? Ah, Teddy. Or Nate. Teddy. Yes, we've done your customization. And then, you know, you talk about it. It's a conversation starter. It's a way to show your friends what you've been up to. You know, it's a way to see, like, you know, you don't have to go around to every single friend, hey, I'm going to, like, a holiday in, like, Venice or something. You just be like, look at this cool, like, nice time I'm having in Venice. Because, you know, okay, maybe that is not reflective of every single moment you had in that holiday in Venice, but it's reflective of that moment. You know, just because it's like an Instagram photo, just because it's got a filter, just because it's nicely shot and it's got nice lighting, doesn't mean it like detracted from the moment, is basically what I'm saying. So yeah. Especially on the internet, you know, depending on the circles you go to, there's a certain sort of like I'm not sure mockery is the right word, but certain sort of distaste, I suppose, of sort of like influences or these sort of things. And certainly, I do have a, you know, I share that sentiment with the ones who, you know, promote like bad, like not bad lifestyles, but like promote the wrong sort of like are not good role models. But most people are not that, you know. Probably the majority of people on Instagram are just kind of uploading it to their friends and maybe randoms on the internet and that sort of thing, you know, just to see social trends. And, you know, as long as you oh, hello Audie, let's go get you some medicine. As long as you have a healthy moderation of what you're doing, that's fine, I think. Like, why wouldn't it be? Anyway, so yeah, photo albums are super cool. You know, while full physical ones might be a bit outdated now, digital ones are great. And also the best part about digital ones is the fact that it's so easy now to collaborate with people. Like, obviously, physical photo albums before, you know, absolute nightmare. How would you collaborate like 20 people or like at a gathering or that sort of thing, all wanting like a photo album? You can't, you know, you have to print out a photo like 20 times. No one's going to do that. Now, you know, very simple. Upload it to an album, share the album, turn on collaborate. Anyone can upload photos. Wonderful. That's literally one of the best things I think about it. But yeah, I'm going to round off this episode here. So photo albums. It's been a while since I last seen a physical one, but you know, it's certainly, you know, one of the best things about technology is the fact that the transition to the digital age is the fact that digital photo albums are a lot better than physical ones, I think, in a lot of cases. But there is something still charming about, I think, your physical one. But yeah, I'm going to round off this episode here. So if you have been watching, thank you very much. It's been Animal Crossing New Horizons. I've been Dear Darling. Any likes, comments, subscriptions, shares are greatly appreciated. Join me, Dear Darling Discord. Follow me on Twitter down below. Hope to see each other again. But for now, it's our farewell. So until next time. Bye-bye for now.